And
Class A championship game. Steve Sotak along with Jay Cohn, Pat Carney, and that MTN action cam, which we saw used so well in those huddles in the first game. Some exciting action, a 2-point affair, as it was Miles City defeating Butte Central 60-58.
That was just one of a great warm-up to, I hope, what's going to be an even better game here between Glendive and Lewistown. And just to set things up a little bit for you, these two teams, despite being in the same division of Class A, Steve, met only once this year because of the unbalance in the league, and that time it was Lewistown coming out on top of Glendive. I would have to say Lewistown is the favorite here tonight. I know a lot of fans in Glendive probably disagree, but in the first game the Eagles shot 63%. Last night against Butte Central they shot 57%. They've got a lot of size, and if they shoot like that tonight, they're going to be a tough club to beat.
They do. I was talking to Coach Lynn McMillan earlier today, and I asked him what was the difference between the regular season and the divisional tournament. Lewistown finished 4th in the divisional tournament, and yet they come in here to the state tournament and they're beating up on everybody. And he said, well, we put a few new combinations in and they seem to be working very well. As they match up against Glendive, as Jay mentioned, these two teams played earlier in the year, very early in fact. Both coaches said it was a Lewistown 10-point win, but don't look for that to really have any bearing on tonight's game. Glendive is going to have a problem against one player. That is Sean Willems, the Lewistown postman at 6'6", but he doesn't play like a typical postman. He likes to take it outside, hit the 20-footer, and he can absolutely drill it. Glendive really doesn't have someone who can match up against Willems.
I think maybe what we could run down here, Steve, is just the fact that bring the fans up to date how these two teams got to where they are tonight. Glendive opened the tournament Thursday at 1 o'clock against Polson, and you thought they were pretty lucky to come out of that one alive.
Polson played them very strong. Roger Fasting, you'll be hearing that name a lot tonight, was able to hit a jumper off a rebound, about a 12-footer with 3 seconds left, and I believe that won 66-64. Is that right, Jay?
Something like that. And then on the Friday night semifinal game at 7 o'clock, Glendive took on Whitefish, a couple of teams with identical 18-4 records. Whitefish, frankly, just got outmanned inside. Roger Fasting hit 6 straight buckets, 3 at the end of the first half, 3 at the start of the second half. Glendive was on their way to the championship finals tonight. For Lewistown, they started off against Hamilton, and a lot of people thought Hamilton, hey, 18-3 record, Lewistown 16-6. A lot of people thought the Bronx were going to be the team that might roll in that game. The Fergus Eagles came to play, however, and they put Hamilton into the losers bracket in a hurry. Then last night, Lewistown against Butte Central, it was 75-64 as the Eagles went up on top late in the first half with some poor free throw shooting really by Butte Central, and the Fergus Eagles never looked back. And frankly, tonight against Glendive, we've got two teams, Steve, that match up very well.
They do match up very well. We're going to take it down to Pat Carney now and get his thoughts.
Okay, a little history on these two teams. It really favors Lewistown. If you look back in history, the Eagles have only won one state championship back in 1979, and oddly, the team they beat was the Glendive Red Devils. Glendive, on the other hand, has won 3 state championships. They won back in 1977, also in 1981 and 82, and in fact, the Red Devils have been in the state championship game now 6 of the past 11 years. So it should be an interesting matchup tonight here at the Metra.
I think it should indeed, Patrick. I tell you what, we're going to be back with the starting lineups after this message.
Today's smaller car engines work harder and rev higher than ever before. If you drive a 4-cylinder engine, you need extra protection.
Up now, Glendive is practicing those free throws.
I'll tell you, so many times you'll see a championship game come down to life at the charity stripe. I'll tell you, it's just the facts of life when it comes to championship games. And I think both teams can do themselves a lot of good by cashing in on those chances from the foul line. And we see the Fergus Eagle in his glory down there. He's hoping to have a little trophy for his nest after this game, Steve. There's some of the Eagle cheerleaders. We've got a pretty good crowd here in the Metra, and let me tell you, it takes a lot of people in here to make some noise, and they're hooping it up right now.
Yeah, but I tell you, when you're playing for the state championship, you can hear it. The crowd is really going to get into this one.
Let's also talk about next weekend. We'll be right back here at the same table, same time, same station. It'll be the AA teams from around the state, and that's That's one of my favorite classes. We've had some great AA tournaments down the years, and the Nuns shaping up next week.
Well,
Promises to be just as good as they have in the past.
If this tournament has showed anything, it's that any of the 8 teams going into a tournament can make it to that championship game.
We are moments away from the introductions. And the crowd whooping it up. Lewistown against Glendive for the Class A state championship. And the PA announcer, Lou Morris, is about to get underway with the opening introductions.
Metra. Tonight we will introduce all of the participants and the coaches, so bear with us as we go through the introductions. First, for the Fergus Golden Eagles, the managers Joel Bryan, Ken Roberts, and for the Dawson County Red Devils, Mark Bullwick and Sergio Van Dijk. The alternates for the Fergus Golden Eagles, Brooke George, Jim Weir, and Vince Carlson. For the Dawson County Red Devils, Travis McCrae. For Fergus, number 10, Pat McKinney. For Dawson County, number 40, Tom Temple. For Fergus, number 44, John Larson. For Dawson County, Jim Temple, number 44. For Fergus, number 30, John Hutchinson. For Dawson, number 12, Ken Wiley. For the Golden Eagles, number 20, Mike Chase. For the Red Devils, number 30, Craig Bartell. For the Golden Eagles, number 54, Steve Fanning. For the Red Devils, number 14, Hunter Fuquay. For Fergus, number 32, Mark Burgo. For the Red Devils, number 42, Todd Glasser. Now for the starters, starting at one guard for Fergus, a 5'9" senior, number 24, John Hardenbrook. For the Red Devils, a 5'8" senior, number 10, Keith Poleski. For Fergus, a 6'4" junior, number 42, Jason Eggert. For Dawson County, a 6' junior, number 20, Corey Nisley. For the Golden Eagles, a 6'4" junior, number 50, Brian McConnell. For Dawson County, a 6'2" senior, number 24, Brad Nisley. For Fergus, a 6'3" senior, number 34, Sean Bowling. For Dawson, a 6'3" senior, number 34, Rob Stoltz. For the Fergus Golden Eagles, a 6'6" senior, number 40, Sean Willems. For the Dawson County Red Devils, a 6'4" junior, number 32, Roger Fasting. The assistant coaches for Fergus, Jim Walker. Dawson County Red Devils, Mike Dryden and Steve Wheelow. For Fergus, Jim Herford. For Dawson County, Terry Hopper and Ken Wilkinson. And the head coaches for each the Fergus Golden Eagles, Lynn McMillan. For the Dawson County Red Devils, Don Voss. The officials for this game, Jim Lodge, Keith Ory from Missoula.
So there you have all the principals for tonight's game, and they really did include everybody. A look at the matchups here, and these teams match up very well. Pulaski and Hardenbrook are just about carbon copies of each other, those short, quick guards. They're looking for Eggert to guard Fasting. He's got to control him. Nisley has got to do something against Willems. He will get help from the guards in that respect. Bowling, an incredible leaper. We'll look for him to maybe throw some down tonight. Corey Nisley will have to try to contain him, and McConnell and Stoltz. Lewistown has a very, very tall front line. Glendive will have to rebound well against them to be effective.
Steve, I think we can look right away to see which team is nervous. Obviously, both teams should be nervous. If they're not, there's something wrong with them. Glendive has played nervous in this tournament. I know Coach Don Boss talked to you before the game and said he's worried about that. They have played nervous in their first couple of games. I expect the first couple of minutes here, we might see just which team might be a little more affected by the butterflies than the others.
You know, you talk to Coach Don Boss, and you never think his team was any good. He is just afraid. He says we can't rebound, we can't shoot, and yet this team just wins.
He's setting you up, I think.
I think so.
At the center circle, this should be a dandy. Hang in there with us, fans. On the MTN Network, this is the Class A State Championship game. Right now, official Keith Ory rubbing up the basketball, putting a little spit juice on the thing. At the center circle, it should be Sean Willems up against.
Looks like Roger Fasting.
I think Fasting will jump.
There he is, number 30. He does just about everything. They might as well have him jump center.
At one time, you know, whoever was the center was automatic that they were jumping. That is no longer the case. You can't make any assumptions anymore. Sometimes they've got their point guard, who's ever the greatest leaper on the team.
Well, I tell you what, Bowling can really get off the floor. At least that is what people tell us, although have him jumping. Immediately, I would look for a couple things. As a little bit of a discussion here, maybe perhaps they're not pleased with the basketball.
I was wondering if
it looks like a
whistle.
I
think he's got a broken whistle. Maybe Pat Carney can fill us in. Pat, what's the story down there?
All right, the problem is that Keith Ory's whistle isn't working. He's trying to get it fixed. I've never seen that happen before, but that's the problem.
And the opening tip controlled by the Fergus Golden Eagles. Hardenbrook with the basketball. We look at Glendive right away, set up in that 2-3 zone.
And they are going to look for some help against Willems. That is the key. Watch for him. He is number 40, and they're going to try to free him up for that jumper. Fasting guarding him. That should be a neat matchup.
And there's the shot by Willems. No good. And the rebound brought down by Fasting. Fast break city. Here we go. This is Brad Nisley, and he holds things up. Pulaski is that little quarterbacking guard, number 10. And Fasting with it at the top of the key. Now into the paint. They go to number 34. That's Rob Stoltz, and he is going to be crashing the boards for Coach Don Boss and the Red Devils tonight. Fasting, he'll pull up from 8 feet out. No good. Hard off the iron. Rebound Willems. Hardenbrook on the fast break. We go one-on-one. Pull it up. He'll slow things down. He'll feed it right back outside. McConnell with the basketball. Now to Willems on the right wing. Look at that 2-3 zone shift quickly for the Devils. Nothing to nothing. Just underway. You haven't missed a thing.
Now this is exactly what Coach McMillan wanted. A patient, deliberate offense from Lewistown. And there's a shot.
Hardenbrook, the little 5'9" senior. And Coach Lynn McMillan has to like that. Sometimes Hardenbrook is streaky in his shooting, and when he starts out hitting one, that's a good sign usually.
That is a good sign. Now Glendive, watch for Stoltz here off the offensive glass if there is a rebound. He's a very physical player.
Fasting couldn't get it to drop. Quickly, Fergus, fast break. Hardenbrook dribbles, baseline underneath the bucket. Feeds it back to McConnell. Now Bowling with the top of the key, and they're going to set things up.
Now both clubs will break if they have the opportunity. That time you saw Fergus slow it down once they got into their offensive flow.
Bowling with the basketball. Back to John Hardenbrook from the corner, and that is Mr. Willems.
And how do you cover a 6'6" guy outside? I just don't.
He's got some incredible range.
He does, and there's just no one that can match up against him. They're going to have to help out with their guards on whoever's guarding him.
with the shot. Corey Nisley can't get it to drop. Red Devils cold in the early going, and we talked about nervous basketball players, but really they don't look too nervous. They just haven't got the ball to drop. It's been dancing on the rim. 5:35 left, first period. It's 4-0. The Eagles in front. Bowling with the shot, high off the iron, fight for the rebound, and Pileski will collar it for the Devils on the run into the front court. And the Glendive team, known for their patience, they're going to slow things down. They want to control the tempo of this game.
I think they definitely want to get Roger Fasting off to a good start here. Maybe free him up with some screens or something so he can get an open jumper.
Nisley will have to feed it back out. Bowling picks up the basketball on the steal, dribbles into the front court. He'll now feed it back outside as Fergus in no hurry at all to put one up. They want to make sure they've got a high percentage shot when it heads to the bucket. Bowling, he says, I'll take it. High off the iron, no good. Pileski gets it for Glendive. Glendive still trying to get on the scoreboard. A big goose egg up there. We're almost 3.5 minutes into the first period.
But I think their coach, Don Boss, got to be happy. At least they're not giving up any offensive rebounds.
With the basketball, Nisley feeds it to Fasting. He gets his own missed shot. He's still in the paint. This one will go down.
And the foul.
And we got a foul. Let's see, will it count? The foul's on McConnell. Brian McConnell, the 6'4" junior. And the bucket will count. Fasting with the first two. He'll be at the line. That's the first foul of the game, and it'll go against McConnell and the Fergus Eagles.
Well, that time Fasting did what you're supposed to do. He followed his shot up, came up with the offensive rebound, and he really muscled it in there. Now, Don Boss, you know, his team is not supposed to rebound, but they are a physical team. He's a lot of football players in there, and they have no problem taking it inside.
And that three-point play, and it's a one-point game.
Well, this time, switching up by the Devils, they go to a press, and Lewistown able to break it pretty easily. Now they'll set up in their half-court offense.
This is Sean Bowling dribbling with the ball.
A 1-2-2 zone for Glendive, as they'll look to the point guy is here really the key, as Pileski will try to create some problems out there.
Inside, back outside. Willems puts the shot up. It won't go. Fasting. Or that's Stoltz with the rebound, and now they get it to Fasting, who's into the front court. Boy, he's a good ball handler. As you can see him, no problem with that behind-back dribble.
He really is. Now, the problem with Willems being out that far is he's really not going to get any rebounds.
A great shot by Corey Nisley. Corey and Brad, they're not brothers, they're cousins. There are a pair of brothers on the team, the Temple brothers on Glendive.
Oh, very close to over and back there by Lewistown.
Hardenbrook.
Now Hardenbrook breaks it in.
And the shot put up that time by McConnell. And a good dish pass by Hardenbrook. He drew the defenders on top of him and then dished it off at the last second.
He did, and that's what you look for from your point guard, to try to create something so that your forwards can get closer to the basket.
This is Nisley with the basketball. That's Corey Nisley. His cousin Brad's 24. And he puts that nice shot. Banker off the glass. Oh, some adept quickness there by Brad Nisley.
And this time Glendive trying to trap, and again it's Fergus breaking pretty easily. Willems from outside.
Oh, wow. McConnell, that quick passing game of Lewistown. That time Willems was open at the free throw line as McConnell broke in with the basketball, hit the open man, and it's 8-7. Lewistown up by 1. The clock ticking down in the first period. We're down to 2 minutes, 42 seconds left. Corey Nisley with the basketball. He'll feed it on the baseline. Pileski, he'll put the shot up, and he's a dead-eye from that range. You got to get a hand in his face. Glendive takes the lead for the first time. They're up 9-8.
Well, in last night's game, Pileski hit a few big ones from the corner, and that was what allowed Glendive to win that ball game.
Bowling will feed it to Hardenbrook, to Willems. Inside, it goes right through the hands of McConnell. A nice save and a good hustling job there by Lewistown's Sean Bowling, as he really put very little, gave no credit to his body. He just threw himself at the ball and saved it for his team, and he'll be the trigger man.
Now, that's another thing about Williams. He's so tall that he's able to spot guys underneath from out there. He's like a point forward.
Eggert at the top of the key, feeds it into McConnell, loses the handle. It's picked up by Stoltz, and the Devils leading by 1 with the basketball, try to pad the lead.
Now, we had a couple reserves come in for Glendive. The key one has got to be Todd Glasser, as we saw him last night come off the bench, and he played a key role.
He had a great game last night. That's him, number 42, with the shot there. That's Rob Stoltz. And Glendive, after taking the lead at 9-8, they now lead it by 3, 11-8, with 1:42 left, first period. The crowd just sitting back and enjoying this one here in the early going. That ball knocked out of bounds. That was McCray, I believe.
And a fine job of anticipating the pass there by Willems.
Travis McCray, the 5'10 senior, knocked that one out of bounds.
His specialty is defense, and he showed why right there.
Inside to Bowling, inside to Eggert. Oh, and look at the Fasting get up and reject that shot. What a great defensive play by Roger, and he brings it down himself. He'll pump it up. 8-foot jumper off the board. We've got a foul and lots of collision time, and we've got the charge against Fasting. He didn't argue, just turned around and headed back as official Keith Ory explains it.
Now Nisley back into the game, and Stoltz will sit down. That is Corey Nisley back into the game.
Lewistown, after leading in the opening minutes, they've fallen behind now by 3, but they've got the basketball, a chance to cut the lead to 1.
Now that was the Glendive 2-2-1 press there that didn't work too well, as Fergus was able to break it pretty easily.
Willems with the ball, now to Hardenbrook. To Eggert inside, the pass intended for McConnell, stolen away. This is Fasting on the dribble into the front court, pulls up inside to McCray, and his shot goes down. Great pass, and McCray was the open man, and they hit him immediately. Down on the other end, here comes Hardenbrook. You're going to slow things up, Steve.
Yeah, on the offensive end, Glendive, it looks like Fasting is creating some things as he brings the ball up the court. And we'll see if perhaps Coach McMillan changes his defense a little bit, try to get his kids back more quickly.
Look at that 2-3 zone of the Devils. It's so far given the Eagles some headaches. Eggert, the shot at the line, no good. The rebound comes down to number 30. That's Craig Barthel, who has checked into the game, and he's played a great game off the bench for Coach Boss.
The advantage of that 2-3 is the rebounding. That's why Coach Boss has it in there, and that time it was very effective, as no one from Lewistown got even close to the ball off the board.
Just 7 seconds left. Last shot. Fasting puts it up. It's off the iron. No good. Turnaround. This is Nisley in the lane. We've got a travel or a 3-second violation. Just 1 tick on the clock left. Glendive 13, Lewistown 8. And we've got a little bit of the wave going on in the crowd over there behind the Fergus Eagle bench. It comes in, the long shot. It isn't going to go, and that will do it for the first period. Don't go away. 13-8. The Devils lead it. We'll be right back.
Fergus 8, and I'll tell you the name we didn't call much, Jason Eggert for Lewistown. One of their scores, really, he's not even scored. He's not on track at all.
Lewistown trailing by 5. Opening minutes of the second period. It's 13-8 Glendive. Into the corner. Nisley back outside to Pileski. Pileski backing it up. We see looks like a 2-2-1 zone employed here by the Fergus Eagles.
1-2-2, and that again is to cut down on the penetration from the point.
Into the corner. The pass to Brad Nisley, now outside to Pileski. Glendive, you can see right here, very patient. Nisley switched corners of the floor.
I would look for them to run some kind of screen here, unless Nisley fires one up.
Corey Nisley gets it. Stoltz has the offensive board. He goes up with the shot, and the foul, I believe, will go against Eggert. We just talked a little bit about Jason. Well, he hasn't been in offensively, but the 6'4 junior just caused his first personal foul, and that is that the first team foul? No, the second on Fergus. So both teams with 2 team fouls, and Stoltz can't hit that one.
Stoltz, we saw last night, he's the quarterback on the football team, and he was great against the press with these long bombs.
He hits 1 out of 2 charity tosses, and it's a 6-point Glendive lead. McConnell to Hardenbrook inside to Bowling. His shot, will it go? It will go, and will count as the official will tell us who did the infraction.
Bowling right there took it up against 2 of the Red Devils, and he was able to get the shot to fall, drew the foul. And
this is really a well-rounded Lewistown team. They're trailing by 4, but just taking a look at them out there. 6'3", 6'6", 6'4", 6'4". It's a coach's dream. Bowling completes the 3-point play. Fergus within 3. It's 14-11. Into the corner. This is Glasser. He'll feed it way back outside.
Again, it's that 1-2-2 zone, and Glendive will look to attack on the wings against this defense.
Pileski on the baseline to Nisley. That's Brad Nisley. And that's Pileski with it from outside. No good. Fight for the rebound. And it's knocked out of bounds. Last touched by Fergus, by Eggert, and Fasting will be the trigger man for the Devils as we look right over his shoulder. He's got 5 seconds to get it in. He does. Hands it out. Now this is Pileski. And Stoltz trying to save it. Fasting gets it back for the Devils.
Boy, Stoltz did everything there but get the ball. He almost went into the crowd.
Nisley out on the right wing. Will feed it inside. Inside shot by Glasser. It won't go. And the rebound brought down by Willems. Off to the races. Hardenbrook crosses the time stripe. 14-11. 3-point lead by Glendive. Lewistown here with a chance to cut the lead to 1.
And here we see again that 2-3 that Glendive likes because it really helps out their rebound. They'll have Glasser playing in the middle, and he's a pretty strong kid.
Eggert. And he'll pump it up and in. So Jason Eggert, just as we said, he wasn't contributing offensively, brings his team back within 1. The scoreboard tells the story. Into the front court, Brad Nisley on the dribble. He'll pull it up and feed it back to Pileski. Back to Corey Nisley, to Fasting in the corner, guarded there by Bowling. That's a key matchup we talked about earlier. Now Fasting changes corners of the court.
They're going to try to work the weak side here. Watch for them to throw it to the quick pass around the outside to the other side, and that was
Fasting's
Fasting.
Jumper, nothing but net. It's 16-13. Glendive up by 3.
What a smooth release by Fasting as he just fires it up. Total confidence in his shot.
Here's a quick fast break. What a dish pass, and Bowling missed the bunny, but coming out of there with the loose ball is Hardenbrook. That was a great bounce pass to Sean Bowling, and he was so wide open, Steve, he couldn't get it up and in.
Sean is a tremendous leaper. Maybe he should have gone up and tried to throw that one down.
They don't ask how, they just ask, did it go?
Yeah.
And that one didn't.
There it is.
The leaper. Oh, and they went up for it. Just as we were talking about Bowling's leaping ability.
They tried to throw the lob pass there, the alley-oop, and couldn't quite come down with it.
Fasting with the basketball. Will feed it back outside. Now into the game for Glendive, number 14, Hunter Fuqua. Back outside. Fuqua with the ball. Hits Fasting on the baseline right side. Guarded there by McConnell.
The only problem with this lineup here is there's really no shooters out there except for Fasting.
They get it outside. Corey Nisley with the ball. Both teams very patient. Kind of a change from our consolation game where both teams were up and down the court in prime time fashion. Inside, Fasting on the baseline. He'll feed it back outside, and the pass inside right off of Fasting's nose. That one had to smart.
Yeah, Roger, they're rubbing his eyes a little bit, but there was a foul on that play.
They claimed the foul on Todd Glasser. That's his second. It's only the third team foul on Lewistown, so they still got a couple of more. Lewistown is already in the bonus as Glendive has 5 team fouls. Back outside, this is Corey Nisley. Yes, he hits it, and the Devils with their biggest lead of the game, 18-13. Lewistown needs some offense here. Willems hasn't been heard from much after a quick jumper that he had earlier in the first period. He's been shut down. This is McConnell.
Well, that 2-3 defense seems to be doing exactly what Don Boss wants it to, as they only got it in one time to Bowling on the baseline.
Inside, the pass intended that time for number 42, Eggert. And it's stolen out of there. Fasting, fast break. Will he try to go up? He has the ball picked his pocket. Glasser gets the loose ball. He's hammered, and I think the call will go against McConnell. Bryan will be called for personal foul number 1, I believe, and that'll be the 4th team foul on Lewistown.
Well, I tell you, Coach Don Boss has to be happy as he had a couple reserves in there, and yet his team built a lead. Now he has most of his starters back in the game.
3.5 minutes towards halftime. 18-13, low-scoring game. Crowd kind of laid back here in the Metra for this championship tilt. outside. Glendive trying to be patient here. They've got a 5-point lead. Back to Pileski. Look at all the room in the world that 1-2-2 zone will give him.
Especially with Willems playing so far out on the wing. Now they're into a man-to-man, actually.
On the baseline, the pass to Fuqua. He'll go back outside now to Pileski.
I would look for Fasting here to try to go a little one-on-one against the guy guarding him.
Craig Barthel feeds to Fasting, who's, look at that defense by number 42.
That's Eggert. He's a good defensive player.
Fasting will give it up this time. Barthel loses control, gets it back. Hardenbrook has his pocket pick. Here he comes. Will he feed it to Willems? He tries the dish shot. Willems has the offensive boards. He's hammered by Fasting, and Willems will go to the line. Both teams now in the bonus situation.
Boy, Hardenbrook with the dipsy-do there, and he was able to get the pass off.
Willems and Hardenbrook that time, they showed their quickness as Barthel lost control of the basketball at the other end. There's Sean Willems, the 6'6 senior, and he's a dandy. He'll be on the all-tournament team.
Interesting thing about Sean is plays for the Lewistown Eagles, and he is an Eagle Scout.
Don't they have 2 Eagle Scouts on this team?
I'm not sure who the other one is, though, Jay.
I shouldn't have brought that up then.
No, you shouldn't have.
And anyway, one of the Eagle Scouts at the line, Sean Willems, and the shot's up and perfect. Boy, he's a good-looking ball player. He's going to make someone a good power forward. Talking to
you gotta
Coach,
like that range. I'll tell you, he fires up those 20-footers and he will drill them.
Talking to Coach Lynn McMillan, did he indicate anyone's?
No, he didn't mention where Sean was thinking of going to play ball.
Do the Eagle Scouts have a college team somewhere? He hits the second one, and Lewistown's within 3. In the backcourt now, the Fergus Eagles will apply some full-court pressure.
2-2-1 trapping zone press you see there.
All
and
alone.
Look out, here comes
Nisley. Brad Nisley. That's how you break that 2-2-1 trap press. You get it over the top, and then you go right to the hole.
Look,
Willems.
Look at him put the ball to the floor.
He's traveling. Just a little over anxious. He didn't like what happened at the other end of the floor. He was going to take things in his own hands.
And now Lewistown would like a timeout. Apparently, Coach Lynn McMillan wants to change something, perhaps going against that press.
116 years ago,
the Fergus Eagle fans and the Devil fans trying to whoop things up.
And this time it's a 2-1-2 defense for Lewistown as they tried to press, and now they'll drop back in.
The pass comes down. Corey Nisley puts the move on Willems, and the foul will go against Corey Nisley. They're going to call him with a charge. Great job by Willems to plant his feet, establish position. And there is Coach McMillan on the sidelines, looking a little bit disturbed at the score, although he liked that call.
Now that was a third foul on Corey Nisley. We'll have to watch him as he's a little bit of foul trouble here in the first half.
Inside 2 minutes. Back outside, Hardenbrook with the ball. He'll feed it to Eggert. Back to Hardenbrook.
There's that 2-3 zone, and it's worked well for Glendive. Willems trying to post up, but they just cannot get on the basketball.
Outside, they'll back it out to Hardenbrook now. He's a pretty good shot, but he hasn't shot but once in the game. Inside, this is Bowling. His shot's too hard, missed everything but the backboard. He was lucky to hit the ocean with that one, and coming down with it is Nisley, who hands it to Pileski, and the Devils with a 5-point lead can work some time off the clock as we will take a halftime break within the next minute and a half.
I'll tell you what, Lewistown is having a lot of trouble attacking that 2-3 zone of Glendive.
They're going to have to do some work. Pileski will pump it up from the outside. No good. Rebound brought down by Bowling. He'll feed it to Eggert, and Lewistown on the run into the front court.
I would look for Hardenbrook here to try to create something, maybe try to work it inside so they can attack that 2-3 zone. Dish off.
Hutchinson, John Hutchinson, a 6'2 junior, number 30 into the game. Over in the corner
now. What an active zone by Glendive. They are just pressuring every pass.
There's Eggert, Jason Eggert from the top of the key. That's how you break the zone. You start popping them from the top of the key, and you'll find all kinds of passing lanes open up.
Now Glendive switched into a press there, and they do not create a turnover.
Almost the quick hands, and I think Glasser may be a little bit shaken up. He's slow getting up. Dribbling to the baseline, Nisley will feed it back to his cousin inside to Stoltz. Can they save it? Yes, Hardenbrook has it? No, he was dribbling it on the white line.
Boy, what an effort by Bowling there as he went flying into the
These
crowd.
guys have no respect for life or limb.
It's a state championship at line here, Jay.
And they're young, Steve, too. Stoltz will feed it into Pileski.
Now, I was surprised Pileski passed up a jumper there earlier. He's a good shooter, and he had the open jumper.
13 seconds left. It's been a quick first half. If anything, all of these games at the Metra this weekend have just been on a streak. 12 seconds left in this half. 20-17. Glendive leads it by 3 right now.
Look for fasting. They're going to try to free him up, I would think, here with 10 seconds left.
8 seconds. Outside, McRae with the basketball. Dribbling, still dribbling. He's going to have to do something. 2 seconds, 1 second. Pileski at the buzzer. It's good. It'll count. There's
But we're doing real well on defense. We got to get the ball moving a little bit more on offense.
I thought maybe a big key the first half was your bench when you brought the 3 kids in.
Yeah, they've been helping us out all year, particularly Todd Glosser and Travis McRae and Craig Bartle. They really do a good job, and generally we get a little more offense out of Todd Glosser right away, and he hasn't been able to hit the shot tonight.
All right, what'd you tell your kids?
We got to move the ball more on offense. We're standing. We're not setting our picks the way we should. We're not coming to the ball, and our postmen aren't posting up. We got to try to do that.
Okay, good luck the second half.
Thank you.
Okay, Coach Don Boss, Glendive Red Devils, they lead 22-17 as we send it back up. Jay, I know you're interested in this. A final score out of Bozeman tonight, the Bobcats 88, the Grizzlies 76.
And Pat Carney certainly had to contain his smile on that score.
I saw that smile.
As
5. Everyone's chipping in their fair share. And Pileski with 4 points. The most dramatic, the last 2 from about 30 feet out with 1 second left to give his team a 5-point lead.
You've got to wonder what kind of momentum that had to give them going into the locker room and now coming out for the second half. The other thing the statistics show is in the rebounding department. Glendive is right there. In fact, they are leading Lewistown in rebounds. They have 10 altogether, and Lewistown has 7. So Don Boss's club, that 2-3 on the defensive end, they're getting their rebounds, and they're really forcing Fergus to get out of their offensive rhythm.
As a team, the Devils hitting 55% of their shots from the field. They've hit 10 of 18, so they've got the upper hand there. They've hit 2 of 3 free throws for 66%. 5-point lead for the Glendive Red Devils, and we are moments away from the second half tip-off, and we'll just be sitting around watching it as you are at home. Hope you're enjoying the broadcast over the MTN station statewide tonight. Sit back, 16 minutes to Hardenbrook, to Eggert, wants to go inside. They still can't break that defense. Willems from outside, in and out, no good. Rebound, Fasting, and he's off to the races in a quick hurry. Down court, he will pull it up, trying to be a little patient, feed it back outside to Nisley, who hands it to Pileski.
And there they are in a 1-2-2 is Fergus, and now it looks like they've switched to a man-to-man.
This is Rob Stoltz. Rebound brought down by Bowling to McConnell. McConnell looks as if he doesn't want to dribble with it, so he'll give it to Eggert, who brings it up across the time stripe.
If there is a weakness on Fergus, it is their ball handlers. They have a lot of tall frontline players, but except for Hardenbrook, no one to really handle the ball.
This is Eggert, and he will hit it from about 10-12 feet on the right-hand angle of the paint. Finally, the Fergus fans have something to cheer about.
If Jason can hit a couple of those, perhaps Glendive will have to come out a little bit on that 2-3, and that will open up the inside game.
22-19, you saw the score. Down court, Pileski will look inside. Nisley.
Man-to-man defense for Lewistown here, and they're going to try to probably create some turnovers out of this. Maybe get a couple quick hoops here and get a little bit closer.
Hardenbrook will front him right at the free throw stripe.
See, they believe Eggert can guard Fasting, and there he got it inside to Nisley.
Tip up by Stoltz, and he's going to be called for coming over the back. They couldn't get it to drop on the initial shot. Stoltz had good position, but the reason he had that position, he was jumping off someone's shoulders.
And now Glendive will press off the inbounds here. We'll see, they got to get it to Hardenbrook. He's really their only ball handler. They have Willems here bringing up the ball, and they broke the press pretty easily there.
Lewistown
really
with a chance
pressure
to cut the lead to 1. Inside, McConnell will put it off the glass, and he got the nice roll.
What a sweet move there as he did the 360 spin and was able to free himself up for the shot.
Brian McConnell, the 6'4 junior. This is Fasting with it, top of the key as the Devils now see their lead down to 1 in the paint, and the shot up by Brad Nisley, no good. We've got a rebound and a foul on Nisley as he was trying to follow that shot.
Well, Nisley, when he fired that up, really didn't take his normal shot. He tried to kind of scoop it in there as he got trapped in the air in the paint with really nothing to do but throw it up. And now Coach Boss has him sit down.
22-21. The Devils lead it by 1 point, but they have yet to score here in the second half. Coming down with it, the Eagles just do get it across the time stripe. Now they get it to Hardenbrook. As you mentioned, they go with the Twin Towers. Really only one ball handling guard on the offense. Eggert to Hardenbrook, top of the key. They look into that tough 2-3, into the eye of the storm, we could say.
Look for Eggert to try to throw something up here.
Bowling with a prayer, not a chance. Fasting rebounds and comes down with it and will feed it back to Pileski. The Devils are still looking for their first bucket here in the second half.
I tell you, Eggert's bothering Fasting, and there he throws up a shot that was short.
No good, and the rebound fought for, and nice save there by Bowling. Coming down with it, Eggert feeds it to Hardenbrook. Little move into the paint. He's open. The shot's up, and Lewistown regains the lead. We've been alternating the leads. We haven't had any ties in the game since the early going. And right now, the Devils want to talk things over. And Pat Carney and crew will move over to the Fergus Eagle huddle as the Lewistown Eagles, down by 5 at halftime, have come out and scored 6 unanswered points. Let's listen in.
When we match up, guys, they're hesitating. So you got to make sure the baseline guy, when they cross, they're going to cross like this and like this, okay? To the basketball. So this baseline guy comes up to match here. This baseline matches here, all right? Tree, where's Tree at? You go inside on the Twin Towers now, and you go to the corner. Now you got that shot, take it. Flash, man, flash hard. Let's go. Let's go.
And there, Coach Lynn McMillan relying on some of his assistants to draw up the defense there. And they're going to put the Twin Towers back in.
Jim Herford and Jim Walker, the assistant coaches for the Eagles, they don't take much time in those huddles, do they?
No, they
Just a chance to catch our breath. Lewistown leads by 1. They've scored 6 unanswered points to start the second half. Inside, Stoltz, the shot, it won't go, but he's fouled. Bowling raises his hand, and I think he'll get the call.
What happened for Glendive there is they had no one who was really shooting there for a while, and that time they got it into Stoltz, and he put up the shot.
It's funny how the old Mo sure switches back and forth. Last night in the semifinal, we saw Glendive come out, and Fasting hit his first 3 shots against Whitefish in the second half, and the momentum was with the Devils for the rest of the way. Tonight, Glendive leading by 5 at halftime. Now Stoltz ties the game. It's one of the first ties we've had, at least the first here in the second half. And we've got a traveling call against Jason Eggert, a turnover. Turnover's really not much of a factor in the game. 6 apiece at halftime. That turnover will go against Lewistown. Devils with a chance to regain the lead. Inside, Stoltz will try the turnaround jumper. It won't go. Rebound Bowling to Eggert to Hardenbrook as we come into the front court on the run. Hardenbrook puts up a prayer. It won't go, and we've got a foul on McConnell underneath the bucket, trying for the offensive boards. He was all over the back of Fasting.
Well, Lewistown now has some momentum, and they are looking to pick up the pace a little bit. Hardenbrook really took it down there all by himself, tried to create something. I tell you, Glendive is in a little bit of trouble now. They have no one who's hot, and they need someone to get hot with their shooting.
Well, Coach Boss has put a few substitutions in. Travis McCray along with Todd Glasser are in. And now for Lewistown, checking in comes number
30. That is John Hutchinson into the game, and he's a good inside player.
So John Hutchinson checks in. Other than that, pretty much the same lineups. 23 all with 4 minutes to go, third quarter. This is the championship finale. Pileski will put it up from the right baseline. An air ball, but the rebound up and in by Stoltz, and he was fouled. Oh, my, as Dick Enberg would say.
I think that one is going to go against
number 34. It'll be on Bowling.
And that is number 2 on him.
the third team foul against Lewistown. At the line, Stoltz, can he make it a three-point play? He does, and that could become a big factor. Score tied 23-all. Stoltz comes to the call, and
Nisley will go in now, and McCray will come out.
And the Devils steal it away. Pileski feeds it to Nisley, up and in. A big turnover there against Lewistown.
Timeout wanted by Lewistown, and coach begging, pleading for timeout.
And right now, Hutchinson gets it to Eggert. We do have a timeout. Pat Carney will make it. Themselves take the lead, but now they throw it away again. Some questionable ball handling by the Eagles, and it'll turn over again. Down court, the pass comes to Fasting. 28-23. Glendive on top of Lewistown with 3:15 left to the baseline. Fasting feeds it in. It's stolen away by Sean Bowling. He feeds it to Eggert.
The man-to-man defense paid off for Lewistown as they were able to get the steal. And here's a shot.
It's almost an air ball off the front of the iron. That shot put up by Pat McKinney.
McKinney just I believe for his first time now.
He's a sophomore in there.
Perhaps a little bit jittery there on that release.
At the top of the key, Fasting puts a move on the sophomore, and he'll think about that tomorrow morning as Fasting cans it. 7-point lead for the Devils.
Roger there, no total confidence in his shot as he fired that right in. Now a 7-point lead for Glendive, and their press is again causing some problems for Lewistown.
Well, the Eagles seem to have gained the momentum at the start of the second half, but that press of Glendive really has turned the tide here. Here is Eggert, the bounce pass off the foot of Fasting. No, they say it's off the foot of Eggert. So we will go the other way. That's a tough break. Checking into the lineup comes Craig Barthel, and checking out goes Pileski.
And they brought Hardenbrook right back in there. They need him in there to handle the ball. And now it is Lewistown with a man-to-man press. Now they'll drop back into a 2-2-1 zone.
And they bring it down to Stoltz, to Fasting.
They're going to try to trap here. Just to beat the time. And now I believe they'll drop back into a 1-3-1 zone with Willems down at the baseline.
And the Devil fans yelling, "Go Big Red." Stolen away. Here comes Sean Bowling all the way coast to coast. He's fouled by Barthel as he goes in. That was probably a smart foul, Steve, as he just didn't want to give up an easy two, and it'll force him to do some work at the charity stripe.
Now what a story this Sean Bowling is. Sean will be attending the Air Force Academy next year. A fine all-around athlete and a tremendous student. He was also a great football and track athlete, and we'll see now how he does at the free throw line.
Okay, Sean Bowling, number 34. He's a 6'3" senior. Look at that concentration, and it didn't pay off that time. 30-23, the Eagles digging themselves a bit of a hole here in the third period. Bowling misses both of them. The rebound by Fasting. So things going the way of the Devils here in the third period after they were outscored 6-0 in the first minute of the second half. Since then, the Devils have regained their composure. It's been all Glendive.
Fergus is really they're on defense now, but oh, look at that nice pass inside.
Glasser will put it to bed. And now quickly, Lewistown will try to break the press, but they had a violation down under their own bucket. And they'll bring it back, and the Devils leading by 9, threatening to blow it out.
Lewistown is a bit rattled, and they have never really established any offensive rhythm. They just cannot seem to get the ball inside. Willems has not shot in a long time from outside, and Glendive is just hitting enough to get a lead.
Inside to Glasser, he had a nice move, but it was too nice, too many steps, and the turnover on the travel violation. Lewistown needs a bucket here in the worst way.
I think they do, and I think they have to free up Willems for one of those outside jumpers.
Well, Willems really hasn't been heard from. And let's credit the Glendive defense for that.
Sean only has those 6 points he had at halftime. He has not yet scored in the second half.
A minute 18, 32-23. Glendive on top by 9. That's the biggest lead of the game. Turnaround jumper. That's Jason Eggert. And he's a one-man wrecking crew here in the third quarter. Without him, I don't know where the Eagles would be.
Yeah, he's about their only offense. Willems, the reason why he's not taking those outside jumpers, they've got him playing in the high post right now, and they just are not getting the ball into him at all.
Barthel will hit Nisley at the top of the key to Fasting. Back to Barthel, who's made the trip to the far corner. Fasting, little jumper, 10-footer, no problem.
Well, that's a perfect offense for Glendive to run there. They work the ball around to the weak side and open up Fasting for a jumper.
This is McConnell, dribbles to the paint, back outside to Willems, who really has been silent. Back outside to Hardenbrook, into Willems. He's going to have to do something. Shot no good. Barthel rebounds for the Devils. 9-point lead, almost stolen away by Bowling. But Fasting gets it back, and with 17 seconds left, the Devils lead by 9, and with a chance here to go up by 11, which would be the biggest lead of the game. They've been ahead by 9 once before. This matches the biggest bulge of the contest. Knocked out of bounds, and Glendive remains in control of the basketball. Just 5 seconds left on the clock.
Roger Fasting, I would look for him to take a shot perhaps. This is going to be McCray bringing the ball in. They just brought him in off the bench for that purpose.
Here is Nisley. The shot is good. Right at the buzzer, and the buzzer sounds. 11-point lead by the Glendive Red Devils. Lewistown has their work cut out for them. Let's go to the break after Ben.
And it's going to be interesting to see what Coach McMillan will do to try to free up his shooters on offense.
Well, the Eagles have their work cut out for them. Only 25 points they've scored in 3 quarters. Unbelievable low-scoring game. The Devils up by 11. We've got some interesting facts to pass along, but right now let's concentrate on the action inside. Glasser throws up a prayer. Really shouldn't have shot. Here comes Jason Eggert with the basketball. Lewistown needs some offense. 25 points in 3 quarters. Give me a break. McConnell in the paint. His shot is short. We've got a jump ball, and we're pointing towards Lewistown. Here's those stats. The Eagles scored the first 6 points of the second half and then scored 2 more the rest of the way for the whole quarter, Steve. They were outscored 14-8, and things went downhill in a hurry for Coach McMillan and crew.
Well, Willems wasn't shooting at all. Eggert was not hitting. As a result, they had no offense.
Eggert with the ball. Hardenbrook, and the Eagles with 7:23. They've got to get something going. Here comes Willems. His shot no good. Rebound to Nisley. He'll bring it back. Pass it back to Pileski, and the Devils seemingly in control of this one. Their fans like it across the way. That has been a tough defense the Devils have thrown at the Eagles and really confused them. Remember, these two teams met just once in the regular season, and Lewistown had a relatively easy 10-point victory.
Well, Lewistown is now in their man-to-man defense, and there it creates a turnover.
Corey Nisley trying to get it outside to Fasting. It's picked out of his hands, and the Eagles trying to cash in. They've scored but 25 points in the first 3 quarters. They still can't hit.
That was Egger trying to fire up something, trying to get anything to fall. They've got to get some shooter hot.
I see Pat Carney's over in the sidelines. He's sat down. He's shaking his head in disgust, especially after that great piece we had on last year's game, 99-97. This is the other side of the spectrum, folks. 36-25.
Now,
the big red fans pumping it up across the way. What a pass from Fasting to Stoltz. He put a move and went right past Willems and put it in.
Boy, Glendive, great ball movement that time against the defense. And Lewistown, they're down now by 13. They're going to get rattled.
Well, this is the biggest lead of the game for the Devils. 5:56 left. They're going to have to pull off a miracle here.
Walked.
There's a travel against Bowling. Too many steps.
Boy, he turned around and he was so open. He got so excited. He took a couple steps before he remembered he had to dribble. Now, will Glendive try to slow it down here a little bit? In a spread, they've got the passers that'll create some openings, and with a 13-point lead here, a little over 5 minutes left, I think they're going to try to be a little more, well, and just like that,
so
Fasting,
much for that thought.
Fasting had the opening, so he said, what the heck, I might as well take the shot.
Oh, they can smell it now. 40-25. They're ahead by 15. Lewistown scored only 25 in the whole game.
Boy, Lynn McMillan looks depressed, frustrated. He really doesn't know what he can do with his ball club.
And he's already called 2 of his timeouts and used them in the 3rd quarter. He's trying not to have to use his 3rd one.
And Glendive is not switching up their defense. It's just that stiff 2-3.
Willems from the corner, no good. We've got a foul, though, called against McCray. Willems has just been shut down totally in this game. If we can get maybe a shot of him up close, I imagine you'll see a very frustrated look on his face.
And the other thing is Glendive, out of that 2-3, has boxed out very well, not allowed Lewistown the second and third shots, and Lewistown is missing their first shots. That's the reason they only have 25 points.
Willems at the line. They can use everything they can get, and that's been the story of their night. And Willems backs away from that line, wondering what he's going to have to do. 5:18. There is still time left. But Willems can't get the second one. He does get his own rebound. Drives the baseline. His shot misses everything. Rebound inside. This is Bowling. His shot no good, but a foul this time, I believe, on Nisley. Or no, on Glasser inside. Todd Glasser gets the call.
Boy, did Willems win it that time. He got the rebound off his missed shot, took it up strong to the hoop, but just couldn't get it to fall.
We've got a timeout on the floor. Pat Carney will... It's been a disaster offensively. They have yet to score here in the fourth quarter. They scored 8 in the first period. They scored 9 in the second quarter. They scored only 6 in the third quarter, and they have yet to cash in. And there we go. The first point of the fourth quarter for the Eagles.
Sean Willems, their all-conference big man, is still with those 6 points.
That is totally unbelievable. Bowling at the line. He gets only one of them. Fasting has the rebound. Feeds it back to Stoltz, to Fasting, to Pileski, and here we go. The Devils up by 14.
Well, Coach Don Boss was ready for the press, said, here's what you guys should do, and they did it to perfection. Got a foul called.
Only the third team foul, so Lewistown, or the fourth team foul now, so they've got one more to waste before they're going to have to put the Devils at the line.
And Lewistown now into a man-to-man.
Stoltz from the baseline, a shot no good. Rebound off to Bowling. Hardenbrook brings it up court for the Eagles. And the pass intended for McConnell, and that's pretty much indicative of how the night's been going. It was tipped out of the hands right at the last second by Stoltz. But you could tell the timing just off a little bit. Eggert from the charity stripe. No problem. And he has made some nice shots from there, but he hasn't had much help.
Well, Jason's their leading scorer now with 10 points, and he's really been all alone in terms of shooting.
Lewistown within 12. The shot up by Nisley. We've got a blocking call on Willems, and this could be another possible three-point play. Let's see if the bucket will count. I imagine it will.
Certainly does. And I tell you what, Glendive got down the floor faster than Lewistown. Willems couldn't get into position, and Glendive, when they get that break, is going to take it, and that time Nisley made a nice play.
There's Brad Nisley, the senior, and he cans it from the free throw line. 43-28, 15-point bulge. This is the biggest lead of the game. Attendance here at the Metra tonight, 3,853, about $4,000 here watching this championship and consolation round tonight. McConnell goes down hard.
Boy, Pileski went flying in there among the trees trying to make a block, and Pileski is not the tallest of the players at 5'8", but he did foul the guy and did stop the basket.
Well, for Fergus, their best strategy now, Steve, is just to take it inside and try to get fouled and to try to put the Devils at the line, because their biggest enemy right now, other than their poor shooting, is the clock. It's almost as if the shooting percentages had to catch up with them.
Yeah,
shooting 63% in the first game, 57% last night. Pretty soon, the old odds are going to catch up with you, and apparently they have here tonight.
Well, if they're going to make a run, they're going to do it with the defense, and thus far, and here we see it again, Glendive has just riddled that press. They run right through it.
Back outside. They can afford to run some time off the clock. Let's see what they do.
Now, the man-to-man, in effect, for Lewistown. Look for Glendive to really spread the floor, use their quickness, and here Fasting is fouled.
That would not be the player I would want to send to the line, but at this point.
Now, Roger Fasting, along with being a great floor player, is a good free throw shooter.
Well, everyone figured Lewistown may have had the upper hand going into the game. Apparently nobody told Glendive about that.
Yeah, the beauty on Roger here, he'll be touring in Australia with a team. That's how good he is, and he's just a junior.
He'll be back again next year. And boy, will he provide some excitement, I'm sure, in his final season with the Devils. He hits the first one, misses the second one. Rebound brought down. It's going to be controlled by the Big Red Machine once again. The fans on the far way. Another foul. Hardenbrook will be called for the personal. That's his second. And Poleski will go to the line with the 1-and-1. That pretty much tells the story. Glendive 44, Lewistown 30.
Poleski is the one question mark according to Coach Boss. Will he hit the free throws down the stretch? And there you see why.
He didn't hit it, and Bowling clears the boards. Eggert brings it up court for Lewistown. Still 3:47 left. Lewistown trails by 14. Eggert shot, can't find the range. Fasting clears the boards. He's triple teamed. And what's the call? We've got a blocking call on Willems.
And now we'll see Roger Fasting can nail a couple more. He's up to, I believe, 12 points now. Certainly leading Glendive and the top scorer in the game also.
If you missed our earlier broadcast tonight in the consolation round in a real barn burner, it was Butte Central dropping one to Miles City 60-58. 2 free throws by Doug Petroff with 6 seconds left was the difference in that one, although Butte had 2 shots in the last second and missed them both.
Well, that first free throw, Roger Fasting got the shooter's roll.
Let's see how the second one goes. In and out, no good. Bowling high on the boards. 3:30 and counting. That far away for the Big Red Machine to wrap up another Class A championship. Turnaround, McConnell's no good. Fasting has the rebound. McConnell has the foul.
Well, already you can see that Fergus is not going to waste any time. They are fouling immediately. And it's going to be up to the Glendive players now to nail these free throws. Roger Fasting going to the line one more time. That is 4 fouls now, and now we have a timeout.
For Glendive, Lewistown came out, scored the first 6 points of the second half. Looked like they were right in it and going to be nip and tuck all the way. And then the drought hit. Fasting at the line, hits that one, and will get another. And it was a long drought. They scored only 8 points in that third quarter after scoring the first 6 of the second half. And he gets another one, a 17-point lead, the biggest of the game right now, enjoyed by Glendive and Coach Don Boss.
Now they are in a press to try to slow Lewistown from bringing the ball down. Willems, will he get a roll? No, that's the way it's gone for him.
Not a chance. The follow-up put up by Eggert. It won't go. We've got a foul underneath.
I believe they just said the ball went out of bounds and Glendive will take over. Quickly into the game for Glendive is number 20, Corey Nisley. And going to sit out is number 30, Craig Barthel. As apparently Nisley, a better free throw shooter, perhaps, get him into the game in case he gets fouled.
Now we've got a hammer job here in the backcourt.
Well, if there is a guy to foul on Glendive, that is it.
Poleski will go to the line. Hardenbrook will step over and have a few words with his coach. 3:04, and this could be a long 3 minutes, Steve.
Well, with a 17-point lead for Glendive, Fergus, they're going to have to foul just about every trip down. We'll see. Poleski missed his last one. We'll see now if he can nail one of these. It doesn't matter how it goes in, as long as it does. That's got to help his confidence.
48-30. Needless to say, kind of an anticlimactic ending, but it won't tarnish the celebration at all for the Red Devils, as they are just minutes away from celebration time. McConnell that time got it to go down for the Lewistown Eagles.
He's got 8 now. Pretty good shooter. He showed it on that play.
And now we've got a foul against Sean Bowling in the backcourt, and with 2:47 left,
Here comes Rob Stoltz to the line as we get this free throw exhibition by the Glendive Red Devils. Rob is a football player. In fact, he had to like that score from Bozeman, as he will be going to Montana State to play football for the Bobcats.
In case you missed it, the Bobcats defeated the Grizzlies tonight. 88-76, I believe, was the final. And now it's on to the tournament time for the Big Sky teams. But right now, 18-19-point lead by Glendive.
And now it will be Glasser sitting down. We didn't really call his name a lot, but he was certainly a fine player tonight.
His contribution really came last night when he came off the bench and put the Whitefish Bulldogs away. That shot rejected out of there by Stoltz. Nice defense. This one nearly stolen away. Hardenbrook shoved somebody with his hand, and he got the call against Pileski. From up here, it looked as if Hardenbrook just kind of helped him down to the floor. 2:36, the clock is stopped, and the Metra crowd very quiet at this point. They've never really been loud in this tournament, but this is a hard place to be loud in. It's so comfortable in here. Hardenbrook can't get the shot. Fasting up on the iron to rip the board for Glendive. 19-point lead, 51-32, biggest lead of the game, and the Devils can definitely take some time off the clock. It's just been a frustrating night for Fergus County, just because their stars have not come out.
They have done technically the things you wanted to do. They had some open players, they had some open shots, but their shooters were not hitting. I'm really surprised with Willems. He really did not play tonight the way we have seen him play, certainly way under his scoring average, and he really wasn't getting the shots he likes, the 20-footers, and he certainly wasn't taking them.
Pileski hits that shot. He'll get another. Well, let's give some credit to the Glendive defense. That was a very harassing 2-3 zone, and the Eagles never did figure it out. That was the story of the game.
Exactly, and the thing about a 2-3 is with the players on either wing, Willems likes to shoot from out there, and there was a person out there to guard him every time.
Nice pass that time from Willems into Bowling. It might be, or it is a case of too little too late, but it was a beautiful dish pass.
But it is nice here to see Glendive. Look at that composure.
Oh, and Fasting hits Nisley for an easy bucket, and now we're getting a little bit of the run and gun style that a lot of the fans came here to see. Both of these teams, though, are more patient, and it was expected to be more of a slow down type game.
And there is a turnover as Lewistown trying to force it inside when it really wasn't there.
54-34, 20-point lead, and we've got a foul on Willems with 1:36 left. Stay tuned. We will have the presentation of that championship trophy.
In addition, we'll probably get the thoughts, if Glendive does go on to win this game with this 20-point lead, of Don Boston. What a tremendous job of preparation he did tonight with his team, as Lewistown, their offense just never could get it going. He had it figured out, maybe from watching earlier tournament games or perhaps the game earlier in the year, but that 2-3 rather, he said he wanted it in there for rebounding, but on just a straight defense, it was tremendous.
Nisley can't get the shot to drop from the foul line. Hardenbrook gets it, and what a move he put on. Well, they needed a little more of that in the third quarter. The pass down court comes to Fasting. His pass inside, intended for Ken Wiley, and it's out of bounds on the quick hands of Jason Eggert as he gets a hand on it.
That's the pass we saw yesterday against Whitefish, as Rob Stoltz, the All-State quarterback, back there in the pocket throwing the bomb. And it looks like Sean Willems will sit down, and certainly a very frustrating game for him. He leaves with only 6 points.
It'll be a rough night, but there will be other nights as well. Minute 17, 54-36. We've got a foul on number 32, just checked in for Lewistown. That's Mark Burgo. He's a 5'10 senior. A lot of these players seeing their last action, and now Coach Don Boss is going to clear his bench. We've got some substitutions, and look at the Devil fans as they go crazy. Roger Fasting checking out. Rob Stoltz checking out.
Well, Fastings leaves with 15, and he certainly did a fine job. Stoltz also played a great game. He has 11.
There's some happy young men on that bench over there. And then on the other hand, as we look down towards the Lewistown bench, it's a totally different story. We've got a lane violation, but it won't matter, as
certainly didn't bother the shooter, did it? As Travis knocked that one down, no problem.
55-36. Travis will get another shot. It's perfect. A 20-point lead. Quickly, Lewistown into the front court. Number 20 with the basketball, Mike Chase. He pumps it up, no good. Rebound brought down by the youngster Steve Fanning. He feeds it back to Hardenbrook, and his shot goes up and in. Both coaches have pretty much cleared the bench. McRae in the backcourt trying to get away from that trap. He gets it off to Craig Barthel with a pivot dribble, and we've got a
5-second call.
10-second violation. They never got it across the time stripe, and with 50 seconds left, finally we see the Lewistown team cause a turnover. It's just been a long night.
And now into the game for Lewistown, or Glendive rather, as they really go deep. Ken Wiley now into the game, number 12.
Hardenbrook scored 2 straight buckets, and we've got a foul inside, and the foul will go against Ken Wiley of Glendive. 46 seconds. The Big Red Machine and their followers on the far side whooping it up here in the Metra tonight. I think some of the fans, Steve, are heading to the exits, maybe a little bit disappointed, but they can't all be great games.
Well, I tell you what a tremendous tournament. The first day was just unbelievable. Every game came right down to the wire. Last night we had the same story in that consolation game, a 2-point game. And I guess the law of averages finally took its toll here in the championship game.
We've got a timeout. We're going to check in with... And it'll be Lewistown ball, 56-40, just 46 seconds left. The Devils, under head coach Don Boss, about to claim their 3rd state championship in the past 6 years. Hardenbrook with a prayer. He went down hard. Rebound inside. Bowling has it, puts it back up. He's hammered. And the call against number 40, that's Tom Temple, a 6'6 senior. The Temple brothers have checked in. Tom and Jim, both seniors, both good size, 6'6", 6'5", respectively, at the line.
A couple of twins there, in fact, the Temple twins. And now more substitutions coming in now for Lewistown.
The scoreboard says it all. It's a rather quiet Metra at this point, except for the Glendive fans.
And now Hardenbrook will sit down, and I tell you, he really gave it his all. He was that ball handler out there, and he did have a couple nice drives and dish-offs, but a frustrating game for him, I think. He really couldn't find his teammates open.
Bowling hits one of the free throws, 56-41, 15-point lead with 35 seconds, and tackled at the 50-yard line.
I think he made the first down, though, Jay. We'll wait for the measurement here.
Sean Bowling, I believe, will be called for the foul. No, number 32. Check that. Mark Burgo, the 5'10 senior, gets the foul, and going to the line,
Hunter Fuqua will step to the line here. And he is perfect.
57-41. You know, this is the time of the game when you see those substitutions. There goes Sean Bowling checking out of the game for the Eagles, and he gets a good hand.
Sean will be on his way to the Air Force Academy, as we mentioned.
Funny to watch the Lewistown players. They don't want to sit next to Coach McMillan. They're down on the other end of the bench. 58-41 as Fuqua hits both of the free throws. We're less than 30 seconds away from the final game of the Class A season 1986. And this one tonight belongs to the Glendive Red Devils, and they earned it all the way.
Well, what a season it's been for Glendive, as they had a tremendous regular season. We're first in the Eastern A with a 14-4 record. And then they went into the divisional tournament, did very well there, too. So apparently playing well is no surprise for them.
Well, we've got a virtual volleyball game going, and up with the shot, number 12, Ken Wiley. Everything's going the Devil way now. The shot will count, and we've got a possible 3-point play.
And Glendive up to 60.
11 seconds left in the game. You know, in the first game of the tournament, Glendive came within an eyelash of being, put into the losers bracket right away.
Polson. And it took that shot by Roger Fasting at the buzzer to keep the game from going into overtime. Polson was able to muscle them inside in the second half, especially.
4 seconds, 3 seconds, 1 second. That's it. The scoreboard tells the story. It's the Glendive Red Devils, the state champions of the Class A in Montana for 1986. It's bedlam on the floor. We've got quite a bit of toilet paper and confetti still coming down. And the congratulations are going on right now as both teams showing great sportsmanship. 61-41 our final.
And certainly an excellent execution for Glendive. We're going to find out about it right now as Pat Carney has winning coach Don Boss.
Coach, they say defense wins championships.
Yeah, really good defensive effort by the kids tonight. They really worked hard on the defensive end of the floor. It carried us through when our offense wasn't going too good.
All right, at halftime, you're up by 5. Lewistown comes up, scores 6 points, gets ahead of you, you call timeout. What'd you tell your kids then?
We were standing on offense, weren't taking the kind of shots we wanted to take, so we kind of pulled it back out, set up a couple other plays that should get the ball to our scorers, Nisley and Fasting and Stoltz, and it worked.
You know, Coach, a lot of people around the state of Montana want to know, Don Boss has won a state championship 3 of the last 6 years. What's your secret?
No secret. Just kids play a lot of basketball off season. If you got good kids, it's pretty, you can do it.
Is this one as sweet as the other two?
Oh yeah, just as sweet, yes.
All right. Coach Don Boss of the Glendive Red Devils, the 1986 Class A state champions.
Thank you very much, Pat. 61-41, a 20-point margin. I think that's the biggest lead, biggest blowout of the tournament,
I know that.
Steve.
Indeed, as we've had a series of close games. But I tell you what, Don Boss's players, his kids just performed so well.
Let's go down to Kearney. Pat, you've got some of the stars of the game.
Robbie, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
What's it feel like winning a state championship?
It feels great. There's nothing like it. There's nothing like it.
Especially after what happened in football.
Oh, yeah. We were really looking forward to coming out here. We had our doubts at times at the beginning of the season, starting out as a losing record, but we came back winners. So.
People say that defense wins championships.
Yeah, I think it does. It really does.
Certainly one of your big keys was your bench tonight.
Oh yeah, our bench really plays well. They've practiced well all season. They've gave us something to practice against, and they come off the bench knowing what's going to happen, and they're really in the game.
You know, Glendive's been in the state championship 6 of the last 11 years. What's your secret?
We play a lot of basketball in Glendive.
Robbie Stoltz of the Glendive Red Devils. Indeed, they play a lot of basketball because they're the state champions. Back upstairs.
Well, we've got Dan Friend, Executive Director of the Montana High School Association, beginning the tournament trophy presentations. Let's
Administration for allowing us to use their staff. And I would like to thank personally Mr. Oscar Wurtela, the athletic director from the Billings Public Schools, who has assisted in putting on this tournament. A special thanks to all those individuals who had a very important part in this tournament, the cheerleaders, the bands, and the halftime performers. Also, a very sincere thanks to you, the great Class A fans of Montana. And last but not least, a great deal of thanks to a lot of young gentlemen who have entertained you and I for these past 3 days, the basketball players of all the teams. And now at this time, I would like to introduce the principal of Sydney High School, a member of the board of directors of the Montana High School Association representing Class A, who will make the presentations of awards, Mr. Jim Wood. Assisting Mr. Wood will be Oscar Wurtela of Billings. Mr. Wood.
Thank you very much, Dan. I'd certainly like to add my thanks to those of Dan, to all of those people who helped make this tournament a success. I'd also very much like to thank Dan for assuring that all the details that make a tournament go were taken care of. And at this point, I'd like to get on with the presentation of the certificates. First, could we have a representative or representatives of the Hamilton Bronx come forward for their certificates of participation, please. could we have representatives of the Polson Pirates for their certificates of participation? Next, could we have representatives of the Whitefish Bulldogs for their participation certificates? Could we now have representatives of the Coal Strip Colts for their participation certificates for Coal Strip Colts? And now, please, the representatives of the Butte Central Maroons for the certification. Place in the tournament in some extremely hard-fought games goes to the Custer County Cowboys from Iowa City. Fergus County Eagles from Lewistown are the second place winners in the Class A tournament this year. Could we have their representatives come forward, please? The 1986 Class A state basketball champions are Dawson County Red Devils from Glendive, Florida. Somebody want to take some basketball? A trophy. Congratulations, fellas. You really played well. There's your drill champion.
We will be back with more from the state Class A basketball championships right after this. Now the Glendive Red Devils put on a little dunk show. Steve Sotak along here with Jay Cohn. We're going to take a look at some of the final game statistics and rundowns. You take a look at some of the dunkers and we'll tell you how they did tonight. As we go first with the Glendive Red Devils, you will see that
Roger Fasting led the way, 15 points. He really did more than just score in this game, though, Steve. He really ran the offense, the floor general. When they needed someone to get him out of trouble, they went to Roger. And boy, he really did a super job. You see, he only had 2 personal fouls. 11 for Brad Nisley. Corey Nisley had 6. Pileski had 7, including what I think might have been one of the biggest buckets of the game. With 1 second left before halftime, Pileski put one up from about 30 feet and went in, and little did we know at that time that it was going to kind of dictate what was going to come in the second half, but it was all Glendive after that.
Well, let's find out what Mr. Pileski thinks. Take it down to Pat Corney right now with
Mr. Pileski.
Okay, Keith Pileski and Roger Fastings, what's it feel like, man?
It feels real good. We worked real hard all season. We started out shaky, and we came on strong at the end. That's really all that matters, the last 6 games of the year.
Roger, the old saying in sports is defense wins championship.
Yeah, that's true. We really did it up tonight. That's what we've been known for, is a hard-nosed defense. We really played it tonight.
What about the Lewistown club? They seem to cause you problems early on with their height.
Yeah, they're really big.
Hey, I'm getting...
Okay, thank you very much, Pat Carney. And we'll take a quick look at the Lewistown stats here. And the guy I'm really surprised with, Sean Willems, had only 6 points, really never got on track. Egger did his best with 10, but certainly look at Fasting there with a reverse slam. Certainly none of their real shooters got on track tonight.
Well, only 38% was the final team stats from the floor. You're just not going to win too many games like that. They got outscored 14-8 in the third quarter, 25-16 in the fourth quarter, and it was over for the Shoutin' really by the time the fourth quarter started. Here's Mr. Fasting. Well, he's not going to win the slam dunk contest here tonight, but he does have the state championship trophy. Here's how Keith Pileski wants to do his slam dunk. That's called with authority, ladies and gentlemen.
I think so. And I'll tell you what, Jay, we'll be back with a final word right after this.
From the rocket fuel that put man on the moon.
Glendive is the state Class A basketball champions as they down Lewistown 61-41. And Jay Cone, what about next week?
Next week is going to be a lot of fun. Hope you can be with us around the state on the MTN stations. We'll be having the finals of the AA tournament next week. Of course, that'll be right here at the Metra. And Steve, a pleasure working with you here tonight. Looking forward to next weekend.
I certainly am looking forward to next weekend. Certainly some exciting basketball tonight, and we will expect nothing less than that from the AA. A couple of very interesting teams coming in. Haver in their final year of the AA, and
we've got
Bozeman and Butte. Certainly some very strong teams. We'll be looking for stuff from them as we see Roger with another.
We've got the 2 teams from Missoula. But again, let's give credit tonight to the Glendive Red Devils. They've won their 3rd state Class A championship in the past 6 years. Coach Don Boss and company, congratulations to the Lewistown Eagles. It was a great tournament tonight, just wasn't your night. But again, the final score, 61-41. Glendive wins the Class A state championship here at the Yellowstone Metra tonight.
Yes, they do. And for Jay Cone and Pat Carney, this is Steve Sotak. You want to stay tuned now for the MTN News coming up right after these messages. Good night.
This has been exclusive live coverage of the 1986 Montana State Class A basketball tournament. Our coverage was brought to you by the good folks at Conoco.